first times I saw him talk, brought this perspective about training plan and being thoughtful, and it was really refreshing to me. And I've always wanted, whatever I'm doing, I always want to have Mike's input, insight into it. I call him once a week about my training plan. Why aren't I? Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, Mike Hughes.
Hello, everyone. There's one problem I have with this presentation is Mike named it the 5 secrets of training plan. And my problem is I grew up in Chelsea Heights, and if you told somebody a secret, you got beat up. There's somebody from Chelsea Heights in here. Where is it? There you go. See, I'm in trouble. I'm going to go ahead. So Mike's not going to pay me if I don't, so I'll have to go ahead and reveal these secrets. They're really secrets. On my PowerPoint here. My personal PowerPoint presentation. Anyway, before you put your training plan together, you got to think to yourself, and why am I doing this, okay? Not just for guidance, it's because there are things that you want to know to do and have a guide, a plan, okay? You want to make sure that what you put on your training plan has an overload principle, meaning that you're going to do a little more work, and then your body's going to adapt. You want to have specificity principle, meaning that in order to do any sport and get better at it, the thing you have to do most is row if it's rowing, run if it's running. You have to do that particular specific activity more than anything else. And there's a differences principle. No matter how good your training plan is, you have different people, they have different genetics, they have different sizes, they have different athleticism, okay? So they're going to progress differently, even if your training plan is excellent. The training plan isn't going to do it for you entirely. And if the goal is to win, you can't negotiate. You can't negotiate the price, okay? The only thing you can negotiate is the goal. So if you have a goal to win, and you know it's going to take this much training, then if you want to negotiate for the training, what you got to do is set the goal back for. We're going to talk about goal setting. The training plan starts with goal setting, and your goal setting starts with you and your athletes. The way I do it at Navy is basically I get the athletes in a room early in the season. I take a practice to do this. I might send them out on a run when we're done, but it's worth it. Sit down with them. And then I put them in groups, 5, 6 in the group, and I give them some paper and pencil. And of course, like we've already done this before, so they have some guidelines. If you're doing it for the first time, you might want to put some things up on the board, like some possibilities, okay, of what might be your goal for the season. Because as you find out what they want to think, as they sit and talk, they're going to write down what they think are the right goals. After they write them down, you collect them all, and you take a look at them as the coach, and you start seeing similarities in them, and or if they're not similar at all, maybe you try it again. You know, maybe limit it down to like the 5 things that all the groups had in common, and have them prioritize them again. But now you have this information, what they want to do, their goals, okay? And once you get the goals, you know what they want to do, then you ask for the commitment. Okay, what are you willing to do to make these happen? Now you've had them make the goal. Now you're having them commit to the goal. And as they commit to the goal, it becomes their goal, not coach's goal. And I tell the athletes, listen, when you're coming over the bridge, come to the boathouse, you're at Navy, and say, I don't want you coming to the boathouse because I said there's practice. Because I told them there's no mandatory practice. That's the word that drives me crazy. Everything's mandatory at the Naval Academy. No, I'm telling them it's not mandatory for practice. They go, well, what? What do you mean? Well, what I tell them is, I want them coming over the bridge because they want to achieve their goals. So their motivation is internal. It's not coming from the outside. They want to win the Patriot League Championship. They know they've got to practice 6 days a week. They've already agreed to that. You realize you're going to have to practice 6 days a week and it's going to have to be hard. Okay, and you're willing to do that to achieve this goal? Yes. Unanimous? Yes. And it's important that you make it unanimous. Because you don't have to ask them, do you think we can do it? Because, you know, some of these kids will come up with, let's go to the Olympic Games and win the Olympic. You're like, whoa, slow down. We're not. You know? But they have to all either agree, yeah, gung-ho, we can do this, or they have to all say, well, yeah, it's at least, I think it's possible. Because if there's anybody in the group who's like, that ain't never going to happen. Unfortunately, what will happen is psychologically, they won't do it on purpose, but they'll do the thing that gets somebody else in trouble. They'll do something stupid because if they believe it can't happen, they'll psychologically work against what, even though they would like it to happen. But if they don't believe it's even a little possible, they'll work somehow subconsciously against its success. So when you gotta get the agreement and make it clear to them, I'm not saying, you know we can do this, it's absolutely gonna happen, but you can't think it's impossible. And you need to know that. When they finally vote or tell you, yes, we want to do it, they know that they've got the goal setting, they all believe that it's a possibility. Even if they think it's remote, that's fine. Now they're behind it, they're coming to practice because they want to win. Now I take the goals, and I put them on a piece of paper, and the goals usually run like this. Let's say win Patriot League, okay? Win ECAC championship, okay? Now, that's nice. There are two of our actual goals, okay? But now my question is, that's nice, but what are you willing to do to make that happen? And then on that same piece of paper, we write down things like, these are the underlying things that have to happen, you know, what's going to make this work? And then you have this line here, and then it's like, come to practice. You know, pretty simple stuff. Come to practice. PR, one herb. We even have a few academic goals in there. Their goal academically is a 3.2 or better, team GPA. You know, and things, let me see what else is on there. Things like they make a commitment to cooperate. So they made a commitment to cooperate, and on top of all of this, as we're developing the training plan, we have a philosophy. They have an athlete philosophy, and I have a coach's philosophy. Now, my coach's philosophy starts out like I coach to win, an atmosphere that creates growth for a team and personal issues. Okay, and it goes on from there. But then they've got one that says they grow to win, and they commit to cooperate with their philosophy. They commit to not complain. They commit to take on challenges with that, go for it feeling. They do all that. That's in writing. They have that. And this now, I take this thing and I put it on parchment paper. I get a really nice frame for it. And then before I put it in the frame, they all sign it. All around it. Everywhere. Signatures everywhere. I send a copy of the unsigned one through email to them. And I take this one and I put it up right next to the locker room when they walk in there to see it every day. Every single day. Now, so that's where the commitment for the actual training plan begins. And then when you start your training plan, whatever your season is, okay, there's phases you want to go through in your training plan. And I think I always start, when I actually start to put the training in there, I start from the last race of the season and work backwards, okay? And here, if this was your training season, you would have the longest phase of your training would probably look like this. It would be the preparation phase. Okay? Now the preparation phase is broken up into a general preparation and a specific. Now, in the general preparation phase, you're really working on like specifics of the stroke, where you put your hand in there, where you do this, where you're heading finish, on the water you're working on it, okay? And all of the training, pretty much all of the training is steady state, or category 6 training, okay? All of it. And I'll tell you what, we start earlier than a lot of high schools would start, obviously, but that steady state training that we do doesn't hurt us at all for head races. We get right to the head races and go, and we do fine. Just, okay guys, let's get the stroke up a little bit higher this week for a couple days, and then we'll go to the race and see what we can do. Okay? After preparation phases, and in here, you start to add a little bit more like in category 5, or category, the way the categories go is like category 6, steady state, category 5 is steady state, but a little more intense, category 4 is anaerobic threshold training, category 3 is just sub racing, okay? Category 2 is racing, and category 1 is sprints. Just fall out. I can't spell it and talk at the same time. R-I-N-T, okay. All right? Now, so this is almost all category 6 down here, okay? And you start adding some category 5 in here. Then you go to the pre-competition phase, which is maybe, it depends on the length of time you have in your season, but it comes in before your competition phase, and pre-competition phase here, basically you're starting to hone your skills. And this is the largest volume of work here. Is here. It's the largest volume of work right here in pre-competition. So this is really a challenge because they used to think the volume of the work, the largest volume is here. But they've done a lot of research and they found out that pre-competition is where your largest volume. But you're starting to get more specific about racing here. Because at the end of this period, when you get to your competition period, you need to be ready for racing, okay? So in here, you're going to do your starts, you're going to do all your tactical things that you do, your powers, your sprinting, all your tactical stuff. And also, you know, you need to have, as you're developing this training plan, you know, strategy. What's my strategy going to be when we race? Are we going to try to get out in front, stay there? Are we going to run with the pack, trying to get them in the middle? We're going to just stay with the pack and do a great sprint in the last 500 meters. But what's your philosophy? You know, it could change your strategy, I mean, and it could change. If you want to have a strategy, then you want to have the tactics to make that strategy happen. And tactics are all those things coming off the start, settling, doing a power with this, power that, middle of the race, not middle of the race, 500 to go, 700 to go, whenever you're going to do different things, okay? So when you get into this, by the time you get here, you've done a lot of category 4, you've done like maintenance category 6 once a week, and now you're doing category 3, category 2, and you start at the end here, start down this way, toward the end we're going to category 1, not too much category 1 yet. Okay, you get into your competition season, and what we like to think on the training plan is the first half of the competition season, you're practicing your tactics and your strategy. You're practicing the tactics and strategy to see if it works. Because if it doesn't work, you're not going to stay with it, right? Yeah, that was a good plan, but we lost, coach. You know, it's not going to work. You don't want that to happen. So you basically, you're testing out everything right here. This is the test period. And then the next second half, you've got it all down. Now you're going to go for it. And the volume in this area during the competition season is really not as big as the volume in the previous one or even these, because you're spending most of your time, you're in shape by now. By the time you get to the competition season, you've got to have your cardiovascular system in shape, your strength ready to go, your quickness is really one of the biggest things you work on during that season. Quickness and you know, actually, your execution of everything you're doing. It's all execution and racing at that point. And maintenance with the long distance stuff. This is racing. This is sub-race pace racing. And now you're ready to go. And you finish the season, encourage your kids to stay. This is like the interim period before they come back and start again. To stay in as great a shape as possible, or maybe row in the summertime, or depending on your season, is post-season rowing possible. But this is the specifics of how you would do your training plan. And the thing that's very important besides that is the analysis of the plan. And the analysis of the plan